What's going on, guys? You see the title of the video. Jaylen Brown is injured. And as a Hornets fan, I thought I'd react to this news because we do have a little bit of a rivalry with the Celtics. I think this season more than most, we have that rivalry because we are a little bit better. I think they have us beat in the series as far as the regular season goes this year, being at 2-1. I think we blew them out one game. But the Jaylen Brown news, first of all, I want to say rest up easy. This isn't like a torn ACL where it's going to take months to get back from. It's a ligament in his wrist, which I don't think is the same as LaMelo's. I think LaMelo just had a broken wrist, but a torn ligament in Jaylen Brown's wrist. He's going to be out 2 to 10 weeks, I believe. And I thought I'd go on here and talk about how this changes things. And I wanted to get the rest easy thing out of the way because I feel like most times I just skip that, especially with LaMelo, the video where he got hurt and my reaction to it. I didn't even tell him to get better. So I wanted to get that out of the way. But as this relates to the Hornets, we would play them in the playoff if the seeds stayed as they were right now. They are the 7 seed and we are the 8 seed. They keep flipping around with the Heat, but I think with this Jaylen Brown injury, they're going to stay at that 7 spot, and the Heat are just going to win a few more games than them down the stretch. And the only thing that would hinder our possibility of getting the 8 seed and staying at the 8 seed is the Wizards, as they are just rolling. Bradley Beal is having 50-point games left and right. He's out for the next 2 games with a hamstring. I feel like you guys have probably seen the Kent Bazemore quote where it's about Steph Curry being the league leader in points per game and his kind of jab at Bradley Beal. That's not the topic of this video. The Wizards are rolling, but say they don't beat us out for that 8 spot, which I hope they don't because that would be huge for them, but not huge for us because we want to keep that 8 spot, and especially we want to keep the 8 spot if we are playing the Celtics without Jaylen Brown, because there was a chance for us to win 2 out of the 3 games that we would have to play. Like, we would have to, if you guys don't know how the plan works, the 7 seed and the 9 seed both have to just win 1 game against the 8 and the 10 seed. And inversely, the 8 and the 10 seed have to win 2 games versus those 2 teams. And say the Hornets are the 8 seed and we lose to the 7 seed because they only have to win 1 game. We would just have to win 1 game against the Wizards or the Pacers, which is going to be how it probably is going to end out. This has given me a little hope as a Hornets fan. Obviously, this is terrible news for Celtics fans and to NBA fans in general. I don't have this stigma against the Celtics as most Hornets fans like to have because Kemba went there, because Terry Rozier and Gordon Hayward are from there, blah, blah, blah. Whatever the reason you might have for hating the Celtics, I don't have that reasoning. I like the Celtics. I think they're not a fun team to watch, but they're an interesting team, and they have really good players. I love watching Jason Tatum. I love watching Jaylen Brown, especially. Kemba poured his heart and soul out for the Hornets for 8 or 9 years. I forget, one of the 2. We drafted him in 2012, so 8 years, 7, 8, one of the 2 or 3. So this makes the road a little bit easier for us to win the 2 games versus the 7 seed in the Celtics. And it's given me a little bit of hope. And I hate having hope as a Hornets fan because I was very hopeful going into this season because we were really hot the first half of the season. And then, bam, we are out with 6 guys and 5 starters and our 6th man. So I hate having hope as a Hornets fan. But this has given me a little bit of hope. And then I want to bring into light a little bit of the situation with the injuries this year. I don't think there's been a season in the past where we have had this many injuries. I maybe you guys will have to maybe in the lockout year where guys didn't play the first half of the season and then the second half of the season they kind of had to rush back. Maybe there was a lot of injuries in that season. But this season, man, I feel like every contender in the NBA has had a star out or 2 stars. With the Lakers, it's 2 stars. With the Bucks, Drew Holiday had COVID. Giannis was out for a little bit. Chris Middleton was out for a little bit. 76ers had Joel Embiid out. The Nuggets have Jamal Murray out. Who's another? The Nets have most of their stars out on any given night. And I feel like just every NBA team has had an injury this year, and especially the Hornets, where there was 2 weeks, maybe a 1 or 2 week stretch where we had Gordon Hayward, Devontae Graham, obviously LaMelo because he was injured for a while, Malik Monk, one of the Martin twins, and then another player that was out with injury. And it's just, how can you function as a team trying to compete? And it's been a very big problem for the NBA this season. And I don't, obviously I know what the fix is. It's rest, but they're not going to get it going into the playoffs. So I'm fearful for the eventual playoff picture, because how do these injuries affect a playoff team? Like the Lakers, we already know are in the playoff spot, so that they've been affected. They've been affected a lot more than maybe a team like the Suns, who have not really had any injuries. The Jazz are out with Donovan Mitchell. So it's going to be interesting if one player gets injured in the playoffs, because we haven't had rest. As in the playoffs, I don't know why I said we. The players, the NBA players, have not had rest throughout the season. They're playing back to backs like every other night, and they got the play-in game, which is even less rest. And it's just hard on the players. They had a 120-day comeback from that was the finals teams, like the Heat and the Lakers. They only had 120 days to get back onto the scene. So it's going to be interesting how these injuries play out in the playoffs, and especially for my Hornets, it's going to be interesting if Gordon Hayward gets readjusted into the lineup for the play-in game. If Miles Bridges is going to be there for the play-in game, because I don't think you guys realize, COVID is the same for NBA players too. It's all about how you react to COVID, and it's different for everybody. I listened to JJ Redick's podcast with Drew Holiday, where he talked about his struggles with COVID and how he was just expected to go back on the NBA court after 14 days and expected to do the same stuff when he was just sick for 14 days. It's hard on the players, guys, and I don't know how Miles Bridges is going to be back, how he's going to do. Obviously, he's younger than Drew Holiday, so maybe that plays into it. But I just want to come on here, talk my sense, and I'll see you guys later.